Hi, friends. I want to talk about change, partially because change is something we all experience sooner or later, but also because over the past week and a half or so, Messiah has found itself in a season of change. Not in our congregation per se, but in our beloved preschool. I could be standing in one of our preschool hallways or magnificent classrooms, but I'm looking down on the altar and platform because that's where I've gotten to know our Messiah Lutheran preschoolers and kindergarteners the best. Well, also high-fiving in the hallway, being called baldy by way too many little children. um, but that's where we talked about Christ and how important it is to live our life with Christ-like values, and just to see them soak it up like beautiful sponges has been inspiring for me. So many of you are aware that the preschool director of over a dozen years in her direct report, the before and after care, and a majority of those board members, most of whom have been close to her for a good while, they all resigned within days of Memorial Day. And you're probably saying, oh my gosh, yikes. And I would say, yes, it's a very big deal, but we don't have to go yikesy too fast. Because change happens all the time. Sometimes that's a God thing, and sometimes it's God things that we don't even know were in God's plans. But we are treating this as an opportunity to grow this preschool in a similar but not identical direction, with care for the teachers, for the kids and the parents, in both the same ways that were good and new ways that might even be better. We want to make sure especially that our children and families, you guys, can look forward to a bustling, highly professional and joyful preschool where teachers are fully trained, licensed, cared for, and ready with excitement for the new school year. You know, this summer, you can rest assured that also preschool enrichment classes are going to be happening, just as they've been scheduled, same topics, and mostly the same teachers. Either way, though, I'm planning to just, supervise a little bit, mostly because I heard one of the classes about cookies. And, whether it's cookies or maybe I misheard and it's cooking, I think it would be a responsible pastor's job to walk along the hallways and outside in the play areas and just make sure there aren't any leftovers that need disposing of. Well, anyway, when an organization goes through a significant transition, especially in a preschool, people try to make sense of it. I mean, old stories get told, assumptions get made, fears, worries, and anger can multiply. That's sad and not always helpful, but it's part of being human. We don't all experience change in the same way. Even when people generally agree that change is a good thing, some feel excited and some are very anxious. Some are hopeful, some are hurt, some are just plain mad. That's true in families, it's true in workplaces, it's certainly true in schools and churches. Now, I'll be honest, speaking of churches, some of the comments and characterizations I've heard lately about Messiah, our church, have been painful. That is not the Messiah that I've come to know. Some of them are confusing about the preschool as well. And a great many, nearly all of them, don't match the church I've come to know and love. And when we hear things that could be true or have an inkling that we need to follow up on, we will take a closer look. We take accountability seriously at Messiah, church, and preschool. But here's what encourages me the most. Our identity as individual believers and followers of Jesus and as a church, it doesn't come from what other people say about us. Our identity comes from being a beloved child of Jesus Christ. In my 2.5 years here, I've watched this congregation feed 200, 300 or more hungry and lonely people here every month on campus and then out in the community with our senior meals. We welcome strangers of any race, language, identities, family styles, backgrounds. We treat them all with the same respect and honor that God treats us. We love our children, we love our teens, adults, and seniors. We support public, private schools and homeschooling families, and we pray and try to humbly serve anyone in the community who's feeling frightened or particularly vulnerable for any reason. And of course, we worship faithfully and joyfully week after week, focused on friends and families of all kinds. That's who we are. So Messiah, let's keep being who we are, an amazing church with an amazing preschool, whose best, most faithful, and exciting years are really still ahead of us. I wish you peace for the weekend, and I hope to see you on Sunday. Blessings.